Yo, what's going on guys? HyperX here. Welcome back to another video for Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak, and today this is an exciting one. I'm joined by Paradise. How you doing, main?
Hey, I'm very excited for this because we're talking about Monster Hunter Frontier.
Oh yes, yeah, because of course in Sunbreak, right, it's kind of cool because of course we got Espinas, which, as we said when it was first revealed, kind of hopefully opens the doors for potentially more Frontier monsters. I mean, of course, we know in Title Update 2 we're getting Flaming Espinas, so today we kind of wanted to just sort of have like a little bit of fun and think about what monsters we would like to see if they brought over more Frontier monsters. Now, it's important to note, none of us have played Frontier. I am sad that I missed it, because honestly, there are some fantastic monsters, some fantastic weapons, some fantastic armor sets. I am very sad I never got to play it. But with that being said, we basically pulled up a list of all of the Frontier monsters based on the Monster Hunter Wiki, so I do believe this is up to date. And Paradise and I have gone through and picked ones that we think are cool. Again, because we haven't played it, we don't actually know what the fight is like, but we're going to dive in based on appearances, pick some cool monsters that we would like to see added to the game, have a little discovery, see what they're about, and basically discuss them. So, with that being said, if you guys do enjoy this, a like would be super appreciated. If you played Frontier, let us know in the comments down below which monsters you would like to see. And if you fought any of the monsters that we are speaking about, let us know what they're kind of like in the comments down below. Let us know about your experience with their encounters, because that could also be hella fun. Also, as a quick reminder, if you guys have not done so already, don't forget, we do still have the awesome Monster Hunter t-shirts on sale. This is part of our Endgame Capcom collaboration. We worked with 4 awesome, talented Monster Hunter artists from the community to produce this officially licensed Monster Hunter line of t-shirts, so you guys have some sick gear to wear. These can be purchased on the Endgame website. Sizes are selling out fast, but we have been listening to you guys, and we do have a restock coming and some larger sizes, so do keep it locked on the channel, do keep it locked on the website for when that happens. Anyway, with that being said, let us begin. Paradise, you have picked some. Where do you want to start?
All right, let's go over to and because we haven't played it, guys, forgive the pronunciation. Some of these monsters have names I've never seen before, but I'm very excited. Let's go to Poborubarumu.
Yeah, Poborubarumu. I guess one of the things with these ones is it's always going to be a little bit trickier because Frontier was only ever in Japan. We are basically working with Japanese pronunciation names. So yeah, you got Poborubarumu is basically your monster. So why did you pick this one?
Well, first of all, visually. Well, actually, no. The first thing was the name was just so crazy that it drew my eye. Okay,
fair enough.
But then I expanded it and I was like, actually, this monster looks kind of cool. He's got it's like a whale, like shark, giant monster. Like it has a massive, like, to be honest, it was the massive head and the huge like teeth that will make me think like, okay, this is an interesting looking monster. Obviously, I don't know how big it is size-wise, but I'm guessing it's a pretty big one.
It does look pretty big. Like I definitely like. It's interesting you say that because this would have sort of drawn me in. I haven't actually seen this one before, but like it's almost like this weird amalgamation. It's got like the kind of big blocky head of like a Baroth, right? Then there's elements of it that almost kind of remind me of Zamtrios to a degree, but then you kind of have that sort of the like 4-legged. Sort of structure. It's interesting as well. It's described as a flying wyvern. I don't know how this thing's gonna fly.
I don't even want to know. That makes it even more difficult to fight. But I did briefly look over a little bit of the abilities of this monster, and it actually is quite an interesting one. So first of all, it says that it can produce sounds from its wings, tail, and head, and that it uses those sounds to basically buff itself, its own strength, as well as to better defend itself. So it makes sounds that not only buff its attack, they buff its defense, and they also basically apply some kind of debuff on the hunter, causing them to go into some kind of state of delirium, it says. So this is one of those monsters that, like, it's probably, it's not just like, oh, snap it about and it's done. It's gonna be buffing, debuffing. It's gonna be you have to use your items. You're gonna have to know what's going on. So I like those kind of fights where there's a little bit more depth than just, chop until it dies.
Yeah, 100%. That definitely sounds really, really interesting. And of course, also, one of the things about monsters, I mean, the hunt itself is always important, but it's also always about armor and weapons. And I will say, the armor set for this thing, I mean, firstly, if you'd sort of shown it to me and you showed this monster, I don't think I would have matched them up, but it does actually
100%.
Yeah, it does actually look pretty cool. You kind of got, it almost looks like like a marching band kind of armor set.
Yeah, I actually do. I think that this is an armor set that would basically go into like fashion sets. Like you could definitely mix and match different pieces, or just rock the whole set. And it does look very marching bandy. Even the color scheme's kind of there with like the red accent in the cape and the hat. But just to circle back really quick, because there's an extra point that I've just spotted in the abilities. It can burrow under the earth, which is pretty cool. but it can also regenerate its broken parts, which is another cool thing. So I feel like this. If you played Frontier, tell us in the comments like what this fight was like, because it actually sounds like it wouldn't just be a walk in the park, but obviously we haven't played, so we don't know.
Yeah, it does definitely sound pretty cool. I like that one. I like that one a lot. But moving on. So my pick next. I have chosen. I'm going to start with a more obvious one, but I've chosen Laviente or Raviente, basically. This, right, there's a very particular reason I chose it. Well, there's a few reasons. Firstly, this thing is massive. This one, I mean, size-wise,
really?
Yeah, this is huge. This is actually...
Oh, wait, it does have the size on it. Oh,
yeah.
Wait, what? Why is it centimeters?
I'm not sure why it's in centimeters, but this thing is huge to the point where someone in the comments is going to have to correct me. I know this was a bigger scale hunt to the point where you would hunt this with more than 4 players. I can't remember the exact number. I don't know if it was like 2 teams or 3. I remember from some of the gameplay, of course, it was like one of those almost to the degree of where like we've sort of fought Call of Taroth. You had like different teams like attacking at the same time. Although I think in this one they were actually all visible at the same time.
That's so cool.
I think.
No, okay, look, we don't know, but if that is true, what are they doing in these modern hunt? We need this in the modern games, you know. I want to see a raid level fight with proper people on screen, on different stages, battling different parts of the giant monster, that kind of stuff. That's really cool.
Alright, in actual fact, wanted to have a quick Google anyway. So basically, according to the people of the internet, this one actually sounds even more interesting. So it did actually support up to 16 players, but you needed like at least 8. And they said you actually had to fight him at least 3 times, at least 9 times with 3 quests. There was a day quest, a twilight quest, and a night quest. So this already sounds kind of crazy, but when you actually just see it in the gameplay, this thing is huge. This is kind of like one of those cool, massive siege quests, and I love sort of seeing these ones in action. I know sometimes people don't enjoy them as much because you're kind of just wailing at like a large part of the monster and there's not as much like action going on, but I just do always. I'm a sucker for these large scale siege quests.
An unclassified monster. Bring it back. Bring it back.
Bring it back. And it had really, really cool looking armor. Like this is the armor set for it. It looks like super spiky, super cool. So I like it. It's basically like a big dinosaur armor set.
It's like a sort of twist on what I would expect, like maybe Seregios to be a bit. There's a little spiky, you know, like the pines. But it's a cool set.
It's cool, yeah. Sweet. So, what is your next pick, Paradise?
All right, you know how I love Zinogre, so I couldn't resist but to pick Eruzerion. Is that how you say it?
Yep, Eruzerion, I believe. Yeah. This thing looks cool, man.
It's like if Zinogre was... What's that character from My Hero that's like fire and ice?
Oh, Todoroki. Yeah.
Yes.
It's a Todoroki
It's like
Zinogre.
if you merge them together. Exactly. So basically, 1 half ice, 1 half fire, and in the fight itself, which we can read more about now, basically, is that he has control over obviously ice and fire, hence why he looks like that. But he can use it for both breath attacks, projectile attacks, and can actually combine both into powerful elemental blasts, which just sounds like a thematically cool fight, probably visually cool as well, especially. I mean, I don't know what the Frontier version was like, but if they were to bring it back now, you know it's going to look like a good spectacle of a fight.
Yeah.
And I always enjoyed fighting those Zinogre-style monsters, like the bipedal sort of big dog-like monsters. And this one just looks cool. It's got like massive horns, elemental stuff. I just like the look of it.
I think one of the really interesting things about this one as well is actually when you look at it, obviously the element is fire and ice. But then, similarly, it's also weakest to fire and ice. So obviously, in a kind of similar manner to, you know how like when we fought Alatreon in World, there was the sort of rotating weakness at different points. It's quite clever because it's almost like that Ikaruga style thing. Anyone that sort of like played Ikaruga, shout out down below. But it's like, when it's focused on ice, you want to be using fire. When it's focused on fire, you want to be using ice. Like that's actually, it's quite cool that its primary elements are also its primary weaknesses.
It makes me wonder how the like elemental weak zones of this monster works. If it is actively fire on one side, ice on the other, or if it just swapped between the two, kind of like Alatreon. But if it does have both elements at the same time on it, I wonder if like the fire side, you want to be on that side with your ice weapon, and if you have a fire weapon, you want to be on the other side of the monster on the ice side. So there's so many ways that they could do that in terms of like how its weak zones work, and then how you would actually play against it as a hunter.
Yeah.
So I really do like the look. I also have never seen this talked about before. Like,
no,
I don't know, maybe it's people's favorites, but
yeah, I've never heard of it before as well. It's like, and the armor set for it looks incredible. It looks like a flipping like souped up Power Ranger. I love it. I love it. Looks hella cool.
Yep.
But moving on from there, my next pick is Odibatorasu, which is basically a giant turtle. All right, look. I love the look of this monster. This monster looks hella cool. I feel like one of the things that I liked about Frontier is that they have a lot of kind of types of monsters that say we haven't fought before. Like, you know, if you played like a lot of the mainline games, you know, you're used to, we fought a lot of flying wyverns, a lot of bird wyverns, a lot of the kind of typical structures. And although in some games, things like for Ultimate, you know, we of course got like the snakes and a few things like that were a little bit different. Generally speaking, a lot more recently, we have stuck with the sort of tried and tested ones that we know. So anytime there's something that just looks different, I really like it. And turtles are cool, and this just looks like a meaty, like, siege turtle. This thing looks insane, and I really, I mean, I did admittedly choose it purely from a sort of like visual point of view, but it's also got a cool color scheme as well.
It says it's capable of taking in large quantities of sand and expelling it in a means of attack, so it's gonna like spray sand at you as well. You know what? Okay, I'm gonna be devil's advocate here. Okay, this one makes me think of Volvidon. Now, obviously they're different, but they both kind of have like a big hard shell on the back of them.
Don't do him that way. Oh no, you just downplayed this ginormous, epic-looking siege turtle as like a little roly boy.
Maybe this guy is not rolling, but I definitely feel like you're going to be bouncing any time you hit that shell.
I do, but
it could be cool, but I do worry, like, from the practical point, am I going to have to be like on the tail or the head exclusively? Otherwise, it's just going to bounce into damage.
Maybe. I do also like the fact that it's basically where it expels the sand. I'm assuming it has like a big cannon on the back, but
it's Blastoise. Now I love it. I love it actually. It's red Blastoise.
He pulled a full 180 right there, and his armor also looks cool. Look at this stuff. This is full scale, like,
okay.
Look at it, looks like a flipping.
That's cool armor. Now
that's
that,
like anime armor.
I can get down with that. That's really cool. That would work with layered as well, because like
exactly.
you've got, you could just color other things red, and I think it would probably fit. That's a sick armor set. I'm trying to think what else looks like that. Maybe Wrath is a little close to that, but still different.
Yeah, definitely. Sweet. All right, cool. So, moving on from there, Paradise, you got a bit of a. This is we're gonna interject our list of 5 with a little curveball. Paradise has got a fun one. So, talk to me. What was your final choice, Paradise?
So my bonus pick is the one and only Fishman Oni, which people should know by now because it's definitely made its rounds, in the past.
Dear.
But this is an actual monster. This did exist in Frontier G. I believe it's a collaboration monster. What's it collab? Can you see what it's collab with?
It's a collaboration between Higanjima, which I'm gonna work that out as we go along.
But basically, I love the look of this. I want this monster to return because of how absolutely memeable and ridiculous it looks. It's basically a giant fish/man with legs, and it just looks.
It looks
creepy.
Looks
hilarious.
It's also even worse because the fact that it's a variant of Plesioth, which is one of my singular most hated monster. So I just hate this even more. This is the thing of nightmares. I do not want to see this.
It has to come back. It has to come back.
Honestly.
It's so ridiculous. It's perfect.
It is ridiculous, but we're going to keep it short because we don't unfortunately have too much gameplay on that one. So we're going to move on to the final one, which again goes into my point before of liking to fight monsters that are different to what we fought before. So we have Akura Vashimu, which is a scorpion.
Oh, good pick.
Scorpion.
Good pick. I briefly saw this one when I was looking through the list, and I did think that was a cool one. This
is the thing. Like I'm all about just that. That was always my draw for Frontier. It was always like if I was gonna play it, it was because it's just like more things that I haven't fought, more types that I haven't fought, and a scorpion is real cool. I already like the sort of the bug type monsters, whether they be the spiders or I also like the kind of carapacians, all those different things like that. Like any of these kind of different sort of creepy crawly ones. But a scorpion, I mean, just look, it's got like a huge like crystal like wrecking ball for a tail, which is
that tail
ridiculous.
Is cool. And it says that it can shoot high pressure liquid from the tip of the tail, which makes you cover in crystals and then lose all your stamina, which would be an actual nightmare in a fight.
No
more dodge rolling.
That's a kind of. I think that's because obviously Frontier also had some unique like ailments as well that we don't have. Like we haven't had crystallization before. I guess it'll be a similar kind of thing, like a snowman effect. But like it was also quite cool. So they did have their own like unique ailments and things. So yeah, being crystallized is, and I can imagine that's going to be the sort of typical setup in a very similar manner to sort of how if you get webbed by Nursilla, it then kind of opens up its claws and comes over. So I'm guessing if you get crystallized, it's going to come over and try and like claw you or slap you around.
I think you're right. A scorpion would actually just be a cool fight. Be like the crabs from that were recently in Rise, but just like times 10 because it's going to be more mobile. It's going to be attacking with its tail as well.
Yeah, exactly. And the armor, I will say, there's quite a few different armors when I googled it before, but the general consensus seems to be it's this kind of thing, which is it's a weird amalgamation. On parts of it is kind of it's like you've taken like a fancy sort of something that like you would wear, Paradise, with like a funny little top hat, but then you just slap some like meaty metal parts on it. I don't quite.
It's a weird mix.
Yeah.
I tell you what though, I do love the hat, and I can see that working in other fashion
I knew
sets.
you would. This is Paradise never disappoints with his choice of fashion.
Fashion's the true endgame.
Yeah, this is true. But there we have it. There's a little rundown on a few things that we have just picked. Again, as a reminder, as people that haven't played Frontier, we're just going based on what looks cool. If you guys have fought these monsters and you're like, hell no, this is the most annoying fight in the world, you do not want to see this monster ever again, let us know down below. And again, let us know if there are monsters you think would be awesome additions. Honestly, I do hope it happens because they did say in Sunbreak, they've of course given us the roadmap and they've said then 2023 and beyond. So maybe they're going to sort of explore the potential to add more Frontier monsters. We'll have to wait and see. We've already got like a Frontier like armor set as a layered thing that was added in the most recent event quest, so anything is possible. But that's it for the time being. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you missed some of our recent videos, be sure to check out one of these ones and keep it locked for plenty more.